I'm still out here in the sunshine in the Western Cape on my picking tour. Now, my first stop was Martin, and Martin is my contact when it comes to restoration projects. A couple of years ago, Martin restored a 1959 MV Augusta, which I twisted his arm and took off him for my personal collection. Then on a previous picking tour, his restoration project that he completed was the Moto Guzzi Zigolo 98. I took that out to Blaubergstrand and reviewed that as well. Now, a couple of months ago, he phoned me and said he finished another project, which was the Stornello Moto Guzzi 125 that I kindly picked up off him and took to the vineyard and reviewed that there. But if you saw that episode, you saw it standing in front of that Moto Guzzi Stornello was this tiny little blue motorcycle here. And obviously asked him what this is about, and he restored this as well. And what this is the world's first production cordless battery operated motorcycle slash moped. So this is another one of those unicorns. 1973 first battery operated motorcycle slash moped. So let's have a look at that in more detail. Let's start the story at the beginning. This little thing in front of us here was produced by a German company called Solo Kleinmotoren. And that company is based in Sindelfingen in Germany. And this design concept was shown to the public way back in 1972. Now, in 73, with the oil crisis, it became a reality and this little bike went into production. And we're talking in 1973, this was the world's first as well as the world's smallest fully battery operated motorcycle slash moped. Because yes, you have the pedals over there. So went into series production in 1973. That is 50 years ago today. And world's first and world's smallest fully battery operated motorcycle. Now I really love that because that's one of those unicorns that tells the story of motorcycles. And just it was a success, but it wasn't a sales success. The reason it was a success is because it was technology, it was pushing the limits of technology and what could be done. The reason it wasn't a sales success is because back in 1973 this little thing sold for 1,100 Deutschmarks, which is the equivalent of 550 euros today, if you had used the exchange rate they had back in 2002 when they went from Deutschmark to euro. So if you're thinking 550 euros back in 1973 was way too much, that's the first problem. Next problem was the old school battery technology. It's actually run off 2 automotive batteries, and the range became a problem. They didn't have lithium in the day. That's the second problem. Now, the third problem was that a normal moped scooter was producing 1.5 horsepower, which is equivalent to 1.1 kilowatts. And this produced 0.75 kilowatts, so 750 watts from this Bosch motor here. Now, you're talking, the drive is very simple. You have these two 12-volt batteries connected in series, giving you 24 volts. That goes through to this Bosch motor, and on the V-belt drives this little flywheel at the bottom that has a tiny sprocket at the back, chain drive to the rear. That's how simple the concept is. So the cost, the range, the batteries, that was the problem. Too expensive, and a normal moped had more power and was half the price. Having spoken about performance, this produced 0.75 kilowatts, a normal moped 1.1 kilowatts. Now the difference being, this on charge back in the day was 10 in Deutsch, Pfennig, which is €5 cents per every 100 kilometers. So you could travel 100 kilometers on €5 cents, which back with the oil crisis days of 73 was brilliant and phenomenal. The target market of this was like housewives going to do their shopping, scholars going to school. If you're working on a big production plant, you could travel from left to right and save a lot of time, or else like airports where you have long distance to travel instead of walking. So the target market was correct, the pricing was too high, and the range was a problem. Range, we're talking somewhere between 30 and 40 kilometers. The top speed was enough at 24 kilometers per hour, and it could do inclines and hills of up to 15 degrees. So obviously, the more the inclines, the faster you drive, the less your range. But you got with this for 1,100 Deutschmark back in the day, a charger for the two batteries. So how this worked, very simple. You have the frame, the two 10-inch spoked wheels, drum brakes front and back, telescopic forks in front. You have the dampers, dual dampers at the back. The whole kit together weighs 37 kilos, plus the two batteries 30 kilos. So 30 kilos battery, 37 kilos the whole bike, so 67 kilos complete without a rider. It was street legal because if you turn the ignition on, ignition there, you can see there's a working headlight, there's a working speedo where you could see distance, this thing having covered 2,806 kilometers. You have your volts, the battery, and at the back you have a fully functional light and brake light. So all round you could run this thing, and the beauty is if you ran out of steam on the batteries, you still have pedals. Now it is actually 2-speed if you want to talk about it, because this motor spins on a centrifugal clutch. As you spin it, this opens up. Let me open it. Here we go. So you see, as the motor spins, this clutch opens up, bites this bell housing, drives the V-belt, drives that small sprocket, chained to the back on the big sprocket. However, if you run out of juice on the batteries, you go this side and you have the big sprocket going to a small sprocket at the back, and you could, via pedals, still continue running. So super advanced for 1973, 50 years ago today. All round, I think it's technology, and it tells the story of motorcycles. So thank you to Martin again for finding me another unicorn to talk about and motorcycle history. And I personally think I have to twist Martin's arm. That Stornello was stunning, really awesome restoration project, and this tells the story of motorcycles, which is exactly what I want to do with the Route 21 Motorcycle Museum. And it is an icon, it is a unicorn, really special, something fun and funky. I'm going to jump on now, take it for a little bit of a spin around here and play with it, see how much fun it is, and then maybe bring it back to Martin and talk about how rubbery his arm is. Another thing that I nearly forgot, over here you have a steering lock as well for theft. So you're talking about a bike that was, everything was thought of with this bike. The most common color, the last thing, was red frame, and the two mudguards that are white over here were chrome, and it had a little plastic cover which obviously perished, hiding the batteries. Although I think it's super cool displaying it like this. It shows the internals, it shows how it operates and works. And again, it was only sold for 2 years because of the limitations, range, the price too high, and people being scared of the technology. Now, just to tell you how successful the design was, the Solo company, Kleinmotoren, used their Solo 720s like this in operation at their plant in excess of 25 years, well past the 89 into the early 90s mark, fully operational on their plant. So you have something that's really cool, ahead of its time, but sadly only produced really for 2 years, and a total production of about the 2000 mark. The first thing you do is switch on the ignition, and that lights up the front light and the brake light. And off the stand, all you do is open the throttle, give it a little push, and off you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this little review of the Solo 720. Another little unicorn dug out by Martin. Thank you so much. I think after here I'm going to go past Martin and see how rubbery his arm is. If we can twist him, that Stornello and the Solo, maybe we can take home into the Route 21 collection, seeing that this is a picking trip. But we're also going to go picking for memorabilia, and we're going to go through to the bike forge. So guys, please, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button, give me a thumbs up, and most important of all, hit that subscribe button to help me build the channel. And if you like, the reminder bell so you can follow me through on this picking tour in Cape Town.